If you carry a firearm and discharge your weapon in self-defense, you could face hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and expenses. So carry the protection of CCW Safe, Self-Defense Legal Services membership. Upfront payment of all criminal and civil defense costs with no out-of-pocket for members.
And we're back. I'm John Wheaton, the founder of The Righteous Savages and co-host here on Survival Dispatch. And joining me tonight, as always, on a Tuesday evening is my good friend and pal, Mr. S2. How are you tonight, brother?
Salam alaikum, I guess.
Well, how fitting. Tonight we have as we were just talking before we went live, a very contentious subject in modern age, because a lot of stuff's going on in the world, and we are tackling the modern influences of Islam to Western civilization. And we're going to pose a question. Can Western civilization and Islam, specifically what we're talking about is the radicalization of Islam, ever coexist? And what are the threats that we seem to be taking for granted every day that Islam poses to our country? We have some very recent examples of what it looks like when Islamic extremism takes over a country in Europe. And so we're going to dig really deep into the subject. We've got a lot of clips to show you. We're heavy on the X posts tonight. And then we're going to discuss our positions on this. And I know that me and S2 align for the most part on this. And we may even have some differing opinions. That's okay. That's all good. Free thinking and free exercise of ideas is what we're all about here at Survival Dispatch. And we're gonna dive deep into this today. So, but before we do, S2 is going to share the conflicted question. And this is a question that we pose to our audience, and we'd love to get your feedback on this. And this is kind of a blunt one tonight, but S2, if you want to go ahead and read that for the audience.
Okay, here we go. Is the world too far gone that nothing but a complete collapse will bring forth real change? Why? And what would that change be?
That's a very philosophical question, or it can get very philosophical. So I actually can't wait to answer this question. This is going to be a good one. So save your answers and we'll put them in the chat at the end of the show. Don't forget, if you are new to us and you are unaware of kind of what we do here at Survival Dispatch, and you want kind of a rundown of what we do, head over to our Substack. Sign up for a free account, and that'll give you the Saturday Watch Guide, which gives you a full breakdown, including links, thumbnails, and descriptions of everything that we posted throughout the week. You get that absolutely free for signing up for a free account. And that way you never miss an episode that you didn't get a notification. No notification is the new for new content is the biggest method that big tech uses to suppress anybody who's over the target. We get suppressed a lot, so we're probably over the target a lot. Also use the code EATMEAT for 10% off of carnival.com. Amazing freeze-dried meat. And I have already crushed like 3 bags of this meat. It's amazing. I've made some tacos and some beef rice bowls. Amazing food, and it's really high quality meat. So go over there and check them out. Use Eat Meat to get 10% off. All right. The terrorism sit rep will return tomorrow with Chris, but we're going to get to the main topic, the threat level that Islam poses to America. How we cannot take the threat for granted or ignore it. And that we believe really there's no way that the radicalization that we're seeing and Western civilization can ever coexist. So as we dive into tonight's topic, we need to confront the hard truth many of in our country are afraid to acknowledge: the fundamental incompatibility with Islamic ideology and Western civilization. This isn't about hate or bigotry or anything like that, but it's more about recognizing that they're conflicting worldviews at their core. Our country was founded on Christian values, which are antithetical to the teaching of Islam, even though they came from the same part of the world. And Islam drove Christianity out of the Middle East centuries ago. And the freedoms that our founding fathers fought for to secure are the foundation that this country was built on. So we have to be attentive to anything that's going to attack that. And we've seen that in recent years with the destruction of history and the using bigotry and Islamophobia and all of these other terms to try and get us to back down. S2, I'm going to let you talk for a minute about where you're kind of at with stuff, and I'm going to bring up our first clip.
Well, where I'm at with things on this is you stay on your side of the planet, I'll stay on mine, and that's how we coexist. Try to impose your values, because when you start to do that, then you become the aggressor or combatant in this case. And that is something that Americans simply will not stand down from, period. We're not going to shy away from a fight. And if you want to try to impose your secular views upon us, where our country was based on multiple secular views at one point in time, this is a completely different thing. But I also have to stress that what we're talking about here is interpretations of things. And where we start talking about interpretations of the Quran, you have a lot of the different secular groups within Islam that have hijacked what the interpretations in the Quran actually mean and what they were really about. So it's important to understand that is what we're talking about, is the radical secularism, not the purists, if there are any left.
Yeah, and that's the big key is I think you have, just like with any religion, you have a lot of people that join a religion who aren't necessarily true believers. We find this in Christianity, and I was born in a church parsonage. I was a pastor's son. I've been effectively involved in Christianity my entire life, and really came to know my true beliefs when I became an adult. And but there's a lot of people that join religions to seek morality or do whatever kind of things, and they're not really true believers. The Bible actually refers to this as someone who is lukewarm, and God hates that. And when we'll get into some of the Quran stuff later, but we're going to play our first clip, and this is democracy is not compatible with Islam. This is a clip of a guy, and I'm not sure. This is someone in talking about the UK. It's 55 seconds, and we'll react to it.
To bring together Islam and democracy. Can we bring together Islam and democracy? The answer is no. We can't bring Islam and democracy together. The reason is because, number one, the one that legislates in Islam is Allah alone, and He has no partners in His legislation. As Allah says in the Quran, وَلَا يُشْرِكُ فِي حُكْمِ أَحَدًا. No one associates partners with Allah in legislation. Allah also says, إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. Legislation is only for Allah. Also Allah says, أَلَا لَهُ الْخَلْقُ وَالْأَمْرُ تَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Allah says creation is His. He's the one who creates, and He's the one who gives command. The Amr here means hukum. He's the one who legislates. Tabaraka, exalted and great and noble, is Allah Rabbul Alameen. Also Allah says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, بَلْ لِلَّهِ الْأَمْرُ جَمِيعًا. All affairs is for Allah alone, subhanahu wa ta'ala. All command and legislation is for Him alone. Even our messenger doesn't legislate independently. And Allah Tabaraka wa ta'ala said to the Prophet, if you legislate from yourself, I will destroy. Is it possible?
He's a liar. He's a liar. I'm gonna tell you that straight up.
Yes, and I would say that's generally a misinterpretation, but there are a heavy percentage, especially in the imam world and a lot of people that are being moved here to the United States. It seems like we get a lot of the radicals here too. But as to why is he a liar, and like let's dive deeper into that.
So the phrase that he uses, only Allah can command, he is the true law, it's not a direct quote from the Quran. What that is a reflection of common interpretation of Islamic theology. It emphasizes Allah's ultimate sovereignty, or tawhid, and authority over all creation. And this concept is rooted in verses like Shura al-Anam, which states that is Allah, your Lord. There is no deity except him, the creator of all things. What sounds very similar to that phrase that comes out of the Bible? Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Right. I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods. The first of the 10 Commandments. Yep.
Exactly. So what he's quoting there, he thinks he's quoting from the Quran, but it doesn't come from the Quran. It comes from the radical interpretations that we see thrown about all over the place. So that's why I say he's a liar.
Yes. Completely agree. And so this is the next one, Brexit basist. And this is a term that's very, very commonly used to, it's kind of like, well, it's exactly like the left calling everything racist. And, you know, one of the big scandals going on right now is that Sydney Sweeney did an American or an American Eagle or a Hollister commercial for jeans, and it was funny because their stock went up and everything. And now the left has glommed onto this and now is saying, well, we used a white woman, blonde hair, blue eyes, so they must be Nazis. And this is the same kind of tactic that the left has used as racist and Nazi and all of these other terms that they want to use. Islamophobia is one of these terms. So all this Islamophobia nonsense. Do we have Christian phobia? Possibly, yes, we do. Why do we have Islamophobia? Islam is not compatible with Western civilization. Maybe that is the problem. Freedom of speech should not be restricted to accommodate Islam. Let's see. After I read the report endorsing Remember by the Labour Party and the man that this is talking about England, charging and drafting Islamophobia definition for the government, one is led to ask a series of questions about Islam. It is Islamophobic, for example, to question Islamophobia as a concept, assert that members of a rape gang are predominantly Muslim men, criticize burqa or say that it should be banned, ask about women's rights in the Muslim world, worry that there is country, show and depict Muhammad, say Islam is spread by the sword, observe Islamic State historically treated non-Muslim differently. There's tons of history about that. Repeat a Muslim claim that he is more loyal to Ummah or the other countries of origin than Britain. Identify entryism by Islamist organizations. Express concern about immigration and changing demographics of Britain. Want to ban or regulate halal meat. Ask if a Muslim has a responsibility, to root out extremism and terrorism conducted in the name of Islam in their own families and communities. Disagree with the war in Gaza, that the war in Gaza amounts to genocide. Fail to support independent Muslim state of Kashmir. And if Islamophobia is rooted in racism, can I, a white man, be Islamophobic to a white convert to Islam? is doing so racist? All good questions, and this is one of the examples that we have. So, full disclosure about what's going on in the UK, they are drafting and pushing laws into their governmental structures, being pushed by Islamic extremists that are moving into government positions. I think the top 12 population cities in the UK now have Muslim mayors. They are pushing to have the Quran taught in public schools, when England has been a staunch separation of church and state country. They are moving to have all of these questions that are in these 16 questions, put in as hate speech and defined as hate speech, punishable. So if you say anything about immigration, we months ago, I think almost a year ago, we showed the very famous video of the police in England, 2 women police taking a senior citizen out of his home because of a Facebook post. So this is going on in Western culture already. We're just a few years behind it if we don't get a hold of it. So, S2, your thoughts on those?
The only way that you can stop this is, I hate to say this, but we need people within our government that have a backbone, that are not there to enrich themselves,
Yes.
to legislate laws banning this. There's something a lot of people don't know. We have Muslims in our federal government system right now, in our Congress, in our Senate.
Yep.
And most people don't know that it was against the law for Muslims to take part in our government. There was a law put in place. And do you know who introduced legislation that wiped that all out? Joe
Who
Biden.
was it?
Joe Biden. And also Cornyn out of Texas had his hand in it too. So you kind of have to look at yourself or look at that and say, why would he do something like that?
Well, this is the tactic of fear that and I'm sure you will agree with this, is the tactic of fear that is used, and Islam is historically, for 15 centuries, has used similar tactics. If they cannot overwhelm you by force of arms, which is what they did in the Middle East to drive Christianity basically almost to the brink of extinction, and then tried to get into Europe until the Crusades happened, and the Crusades really kind of stopped them cold. The Ottoman Empire fell around World War I, and that was really the last breaths of the ancient powerful army invasion forces that would take over countries and try to inflict their ideology through the sword. And after that, convert. Yes, it's convert or die. And after that, they changed tactics because they realized that they could not beat Western militaries with all the technology that we had. They could not beat a Western military by force of arms, direct kinetic war. And so they moved to a terrorist type of scheme, guerrilla warfare, which is very effective. In fact, it's very rare for a very mighty military, a very strong military force. It's very hard for them to beat a guerrilla force, because in order to beat a guerrilla force, you have to get real nasty with your tactics.
Well, and what they've shifted to now,
big countries are not willing to do.
Well, and what they've shifted to now is they're shifting to a regular warfare now. So it's not so much, yes, there is a kinetic function to it, but now they're looking at subverting the culture, much in the way the color revolution that is still going on, by the way, has done to us in the last 5 to 10 years. So this is what I mean by regular warfare.
Yes. And I think maybe we should do a whole episode on that too. That might be something that we do maybe Sunday night this week, is to talk about the parallels of the tactics that Islam has adopted and how they have really kind of mirrored tactics of communism, because communism has been very effective at infecting republics and democracies over the last century and a half. And
Well,
Islam saw this and said, oh, we can use these tactics too. And they are using similar tactics.
well, you'll also see the parallels in one of the expos that we have in our brief tonight too,
Yep.
and I'll explain what that means when we get there.
Yep. So without further ado, let's move to the next one. This is Charlie Kirk, MAGA voice. Charlie Kirk dropped the mic saying that Islam is not compatible with Western values. Sharia law should be abolished in every state. This is essentially what S2 was just saying. Let's watch this. About 2 minutes and 20 seconds. We may not watch the whole thing, but we'll watch a good chunk of it.
The question is macro Islam compatible with Western values? Macro. Of course it's not. There are three major reasons why. Islam does not believe in freedom of speech. Islam does not believe in freedom of religion. And Islam does not believe in separation of mosque and state. Those three things are antithetical to the West. In a Muslim majority country, most Muslim majority countries, you cannot criticize the Prophet Muhammad. In most Muslim majority countries, you do not have the same robust freedom of religion protections. And finally, whereas we in the West are very careful to try to intermix religion and state, they are commanded to actually go into the state and try to change the state to be more Islamic around the core pillars of Islam. And the last thing I'll finally...
I'm going to pause this for a second. We'll watch the rest of it. But that's one of the key points I was making earlier. They're very effective with a small portion of the population because they are commanded to go in and impose values upon the government of the country that they're in. That's why you're seeing England. It's still like single-digit populations of Muslims in England, but yet they are gaining massive levels of control within the government structure. And they've done it. They've done it in France. They've done it in multiple other countries. And once they grab control of those things, and they're even doing it in our country. I mean, the squad, half of the squad are Muslims. And so, we're seeing that infiltration. The most leftist in our Senate and House are Muslims. And extremists, I would say. Some of them even married their own family members, but we won't get into that. Let's watch the rest of it.
I cannot see a single Western country that has become more Islamic and has become a better place to live that is happier or freer.
By what metric? Just happiness, quality?
Everything from quality of life, from cultural cohesion, from whether people want to live there, prior to the native-born fertility rates.
Again, people watching this will say is your criticism of the religion itself or not Muslim people? Because there are British Muslims who have been born here.
You don't have to caveat it all the time. I know you guys have to because you're British and all that. A culture ceases to exist when we don't have unified language. When you cannot talk to your neighbor. I'm not discounting that there are good individual Muslims. The question that we need to reckon with the West is Mohammedanism compatible with the teachings of Blackstone? Is it compatible with the legacy of Wilberforce?
All right.
And the great thinkers that have come from this country? And I will say, no, there's a reason why when you go to these Islamic countries that you're not going to see the equal protection of rights, that you do not believe in universal human equality, that you do not believe the same things that we believe in the West. And I think it's suicidal to import millions of them.
Yeah, and you know what, just on a passing point on that, it's most of the time, as far as I'm concerned, it's not even multicultural, because there was an example there was a school a few months ago during Easter, which cancelled Easter celebrations out of respect for other faiths. So it's not as if the word multicultural and multi-diverse doesn't include Christianity.
No, and again, this is the red-green axis, and Britain is at the forefront of this. You have the Marxists that have infiltrated your government and the Islamists that are coming to your country. And when they combine together, they both agree on one thing. They have huge disagreements on a lot. They hate the West, and they want to see it broken.
Okay.
And kind of tease up some of your points there, S2. You go first, and then I'll respond as well.
I'm not really sure what to respond to that. He's talking about truth, although I'm not a big fan of Charlie Kirk. I agree with a lot of the things that he says, but at this point where he's talking about importing millions of these people into your country, and this is going to kind of go back to the conflicted question later on tonight when I answer this question, because when you have that kind of a thing, one of the things that we've always strived for in this country was unity. unity of people, unity of language,
Mhm.
unity of teaching. And when you start introducing different religion and trying to force that religion or that cult-like behavior into a society that rejects it, you're going to end up with tension. You're going to end up with kinetics, period. It's just the way it
Yes.
always turns out.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a post. Britain is fighting Sharia courts. If this doesn't open Americans' eyes, nothing will. 7% of Minneapolis population is Muslim. London's is 15%. Islam is not compatible with Western civilization. Sharia courts must be. So this is a action group that's going around Britain. Sharia courts must be prohibited from operating in parallel legal systems. Only British courts under British law can have authority over matters such as divorce, custody, and inheritance and domestic abuse. There must be no religious exceptions. Many Sharia councils pressure women into remaining in abusive marriages. That must be criminalized. Britain has been described as the Western capital for Sharia courts, with 85 estimated to be operating around the country. Close them all down. And that is getting to the point that you were just making is, you cannot have a parallel legal system for one sect of a population. It has to be under the same legal system, because what you run into there is that something that they may criminalize. And I mean, in order to prove rape in Islamic countries, there has to be, I think, 2 or 3 male witnesses to the act of rape. A woman cannot just say, I was raped, without a male or multiple men confirming that it actually happened. So these are the kinds of things that in Sharia courts, they will be upheld, whereas in an American court, you would get evidence, and the evidence would weigh on whether the woman was raped or not. So these are key differences in ideologies and worldviews that they're not compatible with what the structure of our country is. This is just like, I'm going to go on a rant here in just a second, but it's just like accommodations for bringing in people from other countries and having to accommodate different languages. We have one language. Do you think you could go to China or Japan and become a part of their workforce and just speak English and they would accommodate you? No. We're like the only country on the face of the planet that does that. If you go to another country and you try to assimilate to that culture, or you try to work in that culture, you have to learn their language.
When in Rome.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm completely frustrated with this whole thing of like, well, we have to have these different areas, these different, accommodations for people. No, if you want to come and be an American, you're going to be an American. You're going to adhere to the principles that our country was founded on, and you're going to learn our language. And you're going to assimilate.
I'll give you a couple of other examples of where this is conflicting as well. So you have in a lot of these primarily Muslim countries where having multiple wives is allowed. That's not allowed here.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you start having these Sharia courts say that, well, that's our custom in Muslim countries, and you say, yeah, but it's not our custom here, and the Sharia courts see themselves as an equal to the United States government courts, you're going to have a conflict there, and there's not going to be any resolution to it. And a prime example of this is one that I can cite that happened recently, where a father was getting ready to ship his daughter back off to Iran, I believe it was, to have her marry somebody from a prearranged marriage. And she literally ran away. She escaped. Well, the father found her and beat the holy hell out of her right out on the street. And he didn't see anything wrong with it. He thought that was okay because that was their custom. That's not our custom, and this is one way or two ways actually that I can cite where this is not compatible with our values here.
Yep. 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 Absolutely. So, yeah. So moving on to the next example here. This was a repost from Gunther Eagleman, Libercrat. Let's watch this. This is so Muslims in Brooklyn blocked the highway, exited their cars, and began chanting "Globalized, the Intifada." This is who the left supports and lets into the country 4 years under Joe Biden. People who hate us.
This is horseshit.
Well, so just so anybody who doesn't know what the Intifada is, it's a reference to there are two Intifadas historically, in 87 and 93, and 2000 to 2005, and the Intifada is meaning in Arabic of shaking off or uprising, and it's a violent uprising. So
I'm going to tell you what this. I'm going to tell you what this really means.
Go ahead.
What this really means, that interpretation has changed. While the interpretation of Intifada doesn't change, it means revolution. But what we're seeing right now happening in this country that people are not paying attention to, you have the Democratic Socialists of America, you have all of these other openly communist groups here in the United States that are attacking capitalism. They have an intention to overthrow the U.S. government. And what you're seeing here, this is what Intifada means now. It doesn't mean just that. It means a global revolution against capitalism. And if you go deeper into that, what our values are capitalist values. So what they're really talking about is attack and destroy capitalism. That's what they mean.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So next, John Ferguson. Here is a 54-second clip. This is Islam. We have to destroy the instructor that conflicts with Islam. You have to establish an Islamic state in this world, or you're not Muslim. Islam is not compatible with Western nations, yet Texas is inviting Islamists to colonize the states.
What is the purpose of Islam? He said the purpose of Islam is that we have to establish and develop this land, this earth. And we have to, that this is our purpose in life, to establish that state, the divine, al-hukuma al-ilahiyya, al-jihad, that the military battle, and al-hukuma al-ilahiyya, the divine state in this world. You have to establish the Islamic state in this world. And if you don't, you're not a Muslim. That we have to destroy the infrastructure of that conflicts with Islam. وإقامة حكومة مؤسسة على قواعد الإسلام في مكانها. Destroy the infrastructure and build an Islamic infrastructure. What is the purpose of Islam? He said the purpose of Islam is that we have to establish and develop this land, this earth.
Oh, this is looping, John.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
This is our purpose.
And I'm going to play this next one as well. Just a second.
We don't say that Islam is here to live, to coexist with lots of different religions, and all of us can just hold hands and be friends. This religion was sent to dominate the world. It was sent to be superior, to extinguish the light of every other religion and to be superior to it. But we're not shy to say it, and we don't find that to be something that we should be shy to say, that this religion has been sent to dominate, to wipe out, to take out every other religion, to eclipse it, to be superior to it, to have the people leave every religion and to accept Islam. And if that requires fighting to achieve it, then it requires fighting to achieve it. Because the greatest purpose for which jihad was legislated is to make the word of Allah the highest and the word of those who disbelieve the lowest.
What an asshole.
Yes. Ranger, this guy in the comments is kind of driving me nuts. He's trying to say that our Constitution is based off of something that it's not based off of. So let me just enlighten you. English common law, one input. Judeo-Christian values, the other input. The Enlightenment philosophies of John Locke, Montesquieu, and Rousseau, and various other philosophers. Please stop spreading bullcrap in the comments, dude. Like, you've been like, maybe this isn't the place for you. You're arguing with everybody. Maybe this isn't the place for you. But seriously, like, don't try and school me on the Constitution. Like, sorry, bro. Anyways, moving on.
You can put him in timeout,
Yeah, well, if he continues, he'll find another home real quick. I'm tired of these people and like trying to act like Islam and Muslims aren't the same thing. Sorry, bro. That's the religion that is. Anyways, anyways, let's move on. Here is a little girl. It looks like in a burqa. So she has to return back to the system where she belongs. Islam is not compatible with Western societies. That's it. A little girl in a burqa.
I wasn't aware that they made little girls wear burqas. I thought that was only fully grown women.
Yeah, typically, historically, it has been. Okay.
Ranger too low. You're about ready to find another home.
Well, he is. Have fun, bro. There. Now we can continue on.
Anyway, back to little girls and burqas.
Yeah, my understanding is that it was once they've reached the age of being able to bear children. And hijabs, young girls wear hijabs typically, not burqas, but yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm looking at this here. That girl is not of the age for bearing children.
Well, I mean, if Prophet Muhammad may be thinking that way. So anyway, that's a reference to him marrying a 6-year-old, but didn't consummate until she was 9. So totally cool. So Aisha was her name. Look it up, since we've got people who want to spread misinformation about bullcrap. Sorry, I'm a little ticked off now. I'm going to take a deep breath. Let's watch this next video here. Islamists in Amsterdam go and assault Dutch people just waiting outside of a bar. Look at this chaos. Why would the Netherlands allow these people to take over their country?
All right, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF, 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 death, death to the IDF. Hell.
This is a European country. Look at all the Palestinian flags. It's, this is not.
That would be Antifa.
Yeah. It's insane to me. And more. So Queens, New York, warning sign. The warning signs are screaming. Queens now hosts over 100 mosques, not counting the Islamic schools, cultural hubs, and political front groups multiplying across the boroughs. Yeah. So let's watch a little bit of this. What do you think would happen as to if this was a bunch of Christians demonstrating, blocking streets?
In that country, they'd probably all be arrested.
Well, this is in the United States. This is in Queens.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Yeah,
So-
they'd be arrested.
Right.
I think the temperature gauge right now on that is cooling off a bit for the moment, but if we look at the last 4 to 5 years, yeah, a lot of them would have ended up going to jail. That's a lot of people. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Sorry, I'm paying too much attention to the chat. England and Europe are falling to jihad, and it's all about self-inflicted wounds. This is a direct result of unrestricted migration policies, both legal and illegal, for the predominance of Muslim countries whose goal is conquest, not assimilation. Fundamentally, Islam is not compatible with the Western world. That's the truth. They don't want you to know. England and the rest of Europe are finding out a little too late. I guess 900 years of holy wars and that ended in 1492 with the expulsion of Muslims from Spain wasn't enough for them. So the woke left has decided to invite in round two. Sadly, we're doing the same thing in America with Democrat open border policies. If we don't reject the left in 2024 and elect president, so this is an older post, and this will happen. So I'm not going to play these videos. This is just more evidence, and it's every day. It's every day.
Yeah, but to my point, if you were looking at that last clip of that video right there, that was Antifa doing that. They were the ones that were instigating that. All of this Palestine crap and everything, they don't give a crap about Palestine. Their target is all about destroying capitalism, period. And where we start looking at the parallels, they want conquest. The radical Islamists want conquest. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So they're willing to work together on certain things. But make no mistake, everybody keeps running around saying, oh, the Democrats are communists. No, they're not. They're not the communists. Maybe some of them are, but not all of them. They're just useful idiots. That's all they are. They're the people that sit in our Senate and in our Congress, and they're the ones that make the laws. These people are the lobbyists that basically go in there and try to influence our lawmakers and try to obtain this conquest over capitalism. So
Yeah.
by attacking this on multiple fronts using the Islamic aspect of it and being able to exploit that for conquest over capitalism is what the real goal is here.
Yeah. And it's this, well, it's essentially what we're seeing that we talked about with Khalid Muhammad last Wednesday about the joining forces of Islamic sects that have never been compatible.
Yeah.
And they're uniting against a common enemy, and that's us.
Khalid and I had conversed long before he became part of Survival Dispatch, and we traded papers back and forth. I wrote a paper on this last year, and yeah, there's the Haqqani network and Al Qaeda. They were mortal enemies. They didn't work together, but now they're joining forces to fight what they seem to believe is a common enemy.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I think Ranger signed into another account because the Google account whatever it was, Google, his censorship account started spewing the same stuff. So I think he signed back into our. I banned that one too. Anyways,
That's okay. Yeah, everybody's entitled to their opinions, like assholes.
right, and it's just when you start spreading things that are patently false and provably false, it's enough for me to basically. That's when I ban people. But anyways, you can have your opinions. I just don't have to put them on the stream. So, because that's my freedom of speech. Okay, let's move to the next one. And this is British Imam demands that English people submit to Allah before it is too late, as Islam will soon take control of the UK, Europe, and even America. We need to put a stop to this. America now.
I've been told that they are planning to come to wake.
Is that Colin Kaepernick?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's like I know it just looks like his friggin' twin brother. That's crazy.
On the weekend, but I highly doubt that they will come. You see that these protests that they're doing, they're in localities where the numbers of the mu'mineen are very little. Down south, Middlesbrough, very small number of mu'mineen. Have they not read into the history of the Battle of Badr? How we were only 313 in number, but that 313 defeated an army of 1,000 simply because of their unwavering faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all we can do is we pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides these individuals towards the path of Islam. You've seen some of their own members denounce them, completely going against what they are teaching and saying that, look, I used to be part of them, but I don't stand with them anymore because I realize that they are too extreme in their beliefs. And as much as they want to destroy Islam and eradicate Islam, Islam is here to stay. And it is here to stay till the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, because that is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the reason why Islam is the quickest growing religion wherever you go in this world. No matter how much you try to destroy Islam, they tried it 1400 years ago with the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. They failed then. People have tried throughout history. They failed then. People are trying right now. They are currently failing. They will try all the way to the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, and they will continue to fail simply because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that He will be the one to protect the religion of Islam, even if there is nobody else left to protect it.
And you know, I mean, there are parallels with this religion and the religion that I believe, the Christianity, and that God fights for us. All of these things. That's why I believe it is a false religion, is because it draws so many parallels. Christianity was 700 years old when Islam popped up, and this is.
Well, they tried to co-opt it.
Yes, it's co-opting a religion, much like, you know, some of the modern denominations that ascribe to have these new revelations and stuff, and it's very.
You mean like aliens coming down and
among others? Yes, there's many. Let's just say there's crazy people in every walk of life, and we'll just leave it at that. But yes, the real insane thing here is
Darren Thomas has it. He's hit it right on the head here in the YouTube chat.
Yes, yeah. I was actually just getting ready to share that. 100%. Muslims' views of Christianity is Gnosticism. 100%.
Which is weird because Gnosticism actually plays a part in the Catholic religion too, to a certain extent.
Yes.
So yeah, it's kind of weird.
Oh, Darty. You guys in the chat, I just have to say, I'm going to take a break for a second. I love you guys. I love our Survival Dispatch family, and you guys were giving it to the guys that were trolling from the get-go, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I love you guys, and thank you for being who you are.
Attack.
Anyway, attack. Yes, I always know that I've got my my dogs in the chat ready to go. So appreciate that. And here's another aspect of this. So this is Andy No. Andy No is a very, very prevalent reporter. He was huge in the Antifa riots of 2020. Actually was assaulted multiple times with a concrete milkshake, which is a common attack. They'll put a little bit of concrete mix in a milkshake and throw it at you, and it basically turns into a blunt force trauma instrument. So he had a very, very close call in covering the Antifa riots of 2020. And he's all over a lot of this stuff too. So let's watch this. It says attempted Islamic honor killing. 2 fundamentalist Muslim migrants from Iraq are on trial in Olympia, Washington, over a horrific attack on their teen daughter outside of Timberland High School.
That's what I was talking about
last year. Prosecutors say Ihsan Ali and Zahra Ali strangled the girl and tried to kill her. So we'll watch this.
That was the husband and wife.
Yes. So,
but this is just the father here in this video.
A possible attempted honor killing, which shook the Timberline High School community, now on trial in Thurston County Superior Court. Prosecutors accuse both Ihsan and Zahra Ali of choking their 17-year-old daughter outside the high school to the point where she couldn't breathe and lost consciousness. Part of the incident was caught on camera from a nearby bus.
Her eyes were rolling to the back of the head. You can tell she was not able to breathe. The look on his face and the way he was squeezing, he was choking her.
Court records state the victim's father had previously threatened her with an honor killing for refusing an arranged marriage with an older man in another country. Several bystanders, including other students, the bus driver, and other adults passing through the area, had to step in and pry the victim from her father's grip.
I noticed her eyes rolling to the back of her head. So right there, as I grabbed his hand and I pulled it off, was able to spread his arms apart, and that's when she got free.
Other eyewitnesses described the chaos unfolding in front of the high school, with teens screaming.
Her eyes are rolling in the back of her head. She can't breathe. Someone call 911. Let go. Everyone seemed in a panic.
For those of you who don't know, an honor killing is a common practice for fundamentalist Islamists. And it can be done for anything that is considered a disgrace to the family. Typically carried out by the father, but sometimes radicalized. Both parents can actually be a part of this, but typically it is perpetrated by a father or a father figure within the family, grandfather. And it is most of the time, not always, but most of the time are towards female members of the family. Daughters and wives and things like that, for disgracing or dishonoring the family or their husband. It's a disgusting practice, and it is rooted in a gross either misinterpretation or misguided teachings in Islam. So, S2.
Yeah, I spoke about this earlier. This is another one of the incompatibilities that I spoke about earlier, where we start getting into conflict with our laws.
Yep. And our last clip, and then we're going to wrap up. Last clip: Islam is not compatible with America. Jack Posobiec, Democracy 2025. I go back and forth on Jack Posobiec. Some of his stuff I like, and sometimes I'm just like, you kind of act like a tool sometimes, but that's just me. Here we go.
Those are the communists.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. This is probably what, none of us were alive when the, 1918 original revolution happened in Russia, but I'd imagine there were some similarities to what you just watched.
Well, it's like everybody thinks that just because this Mom Donnie character up in New York is Muslim that he can't be communist, but he is. He's outwardly communist and says that he is. So goes to my point where they start talking about intifada and all this other crap. They're talking about attacking capitalism and destroying capitalism, which is based on our Christian fundamental values.
Yes.
So we need to, my point in saying that is we need to recognize what it is. It's not just about a religion at this point. It's about destroying our Christian values, and our Christian values were based on what we derived from the Bible through Christ's teachings. It wasn't just something that they just thought up off the top of their head. And capitalism plays a very big part in that. So, and here's another little thing too that a lot of people don't realize. All those little coexist bumper stickers that you see on people's cars, those are communists.
Yep. And they want you to, this is the thing, and this is one of the parallels, and I'm calling it right now. We're going to talk about the parallels of communism and Islam on Sunday evening. So set your calendars. We're going to get a bunch of information together for you guys, and we're going to draw these parallels and show you what we're talking about, because there's a ton of them. And it is the coexist until you push back on my ideology, until you want to engage me. You have to deal with all of our engagement, all of the things that we want to do. But the instant you push back, you're not coexisting. Coexist with us while we force you to bend to our ideology. And we have centuries of evidence that Islam has done this. And we have about 2 centuries that communism has done this. 2 sides of the same coin. It's just one is a godless religion, and the other one is a fake religion with a fake god. But they're both religions, and they're both that kind of ideological thing. So it is very, 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 very. It's going to be a great show. So S2, you can start gathering stuff as soon as we're off tonight. So that's going to be our topic.
I got tons of stuff floating around up in my head, man.
Yeah, do some diff. Yes, Sunday we'll have this. I host Tuesday and Sunday streams, and S2 is typically with me as well. So we do that. So come and join us, man. Yeah, be awesome. So at the same time as well. But tonight we have looked at a lot of the evidence on what we need to actually be more aware of. You know, everybody's, when we laid this out in a episode recently, that China has been a focus, Russia has been this focus, but we're not taking focus on the ideologies that are infiltrating our country, that are meant to destroy our country. Our country is not built on these systems. And when these systems are introduced, it's like a cancer into a human body. It will eat it alive. And we cannot allow this. We have to return to the principles in which we were founded. And if you don't like those principles, then this isn't the country for you. Go someplace where they have the ideology that you're trying to push on us. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing. All of this talk about Gaza and the Palestinians. And you know who won't take the Muslims? Like these are all Muslim people. And there's not a single country around that area in the world that will take them into their country.
Well, the Palestinians were actually originally Greeks, by the way.
Well, there you go. But this is the reality. They don't want to live in their own countries. They want to come to the countries that have been built off of the prosperity of capitalism, private property ownership, Judeo-Christian values, the Bible, all of these things. And they want to come in and wreck it. They don't want to come in and say, let me take advantage of this. Let me assimilate. I'm not saying you have to be Christian, but you have to understand that this country was built on those principles. And the only reason it's been successful is because of that. What
And
do they?
it's also the reason that it's been failing too, because of the lack of it.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. So, this is this is a very, very concerning subject, and it's a very, very charged subject as well. And I think that we've got to address it and continue to address it and continue to sound the alarm, even if people aren't listening, because we are addicted to the comforts that we have in this country because of the principles we're based on. But that's also a recipe to allow us to get lackadaisical, to not be engaged, and then to wonder, where'd my country go? I think a lot of people in 2020 woke up and said, wait a minute, this isn't the country that I grew up in. I know I did. A lot of people woke up, but now we're kind of past that. And, you know, we got Trump in the White House. We got control of Congress. Well, guess what? That can all fail really quickly if we don't stay engaged. And that's the most important thing that I could say. Inform yourself, stay engaged. Don't let this stuff take hold, and don't ignore it. The countries historically that have ignored these kinds of takeovers have fallen badly. S2, I turn the floor over to you, sir, for closing comments.
One last thing that I'd like to say about all of this is I don't want to be the person that sits up here and just pontificates and spouts off of the data points like everybody else does. I want to provide some solutions to people about what they can do. And what everybody needs to understand is, just like all of these Congress critters that we have that have turned out to be Muslim, that publicly state that they're in Congress to support their country, they're not here to support this country. You need to make yourself aware of who is in your local governments. And if these are the same people that are talking the same way as these other folks are, you need to make sure that they don't get elected. One of the reasons Mamdani got the position that he got right now as the what I don't even know what they call it now, the Democratic hopeful for mayor, is because they had over 30,000 communists from all of these different groups out there that they were doing door knocking campaigns for him. They were doing all of these things. They were organizing. This is what we must do to stop the spread of this. This all starts at the local level, and they work their way up through the ranks of the governments, whether it be local, county, whatever. This is how it starts, and this is how you stop it. You must be engaged with your local legislatures. That's all I have to say.
Good words, and I completely agree, brother. It's very, very important that we don't sit on this and we don't just move on. And Darren Thomas, I agree. We should start working on the 2028 elections. We should start working on the 2026 elections.
Yes, you are in election season right now.
Yes, like we need to be working on that now, because, man, we can't lose the House and Senate, because then everything stops, and you know what starts up again? Impeachment, impeachment, impeachment.
Yep,
that's what your last 2 years of Trump's presidency will be if we lose that.
Well, and that's been their whole strategy, is to delay and deny. A delay is a denial. So that's what that's been their strategy the whole time, was to stall everything.
Yep. Agreed. So throw this up here. Quick shout out to Dale the Machine, who submitted yesterday's top story. Dale shared the Mamdani is just a full of crap grifter. And this is so much for his socialist, anti-capitalist beliefs. Mamdani is another full of crap grifter. Do as I say, not as I do. Champagne socialist Zoran Mamdani weds wife at $1 million compound owned by his wealthy parents. If you know what $1 million compound in, I forget what country we're talking about. It's a very poor African country, Ghana. like the GDP average income of Ghana is like $1,000 a year, US. Imagine what $1 million home compound looks like in that country. Yeah, that's your everyday man.
With U.S. money.
Or Uganda. Yeah. As Uganda. Thank you, Chaos Mage. Yes. I had half of it with Uganda. So anyways, thank you for that submission. And yeah, so let's move on back to the conflicted question. I want to hear all of you guys' answers in the chat and see what you have to say. And then we're going to close it down. So go ahead, S2, and read that.
I'll read it, but I'm going to say this one thing. All of you people out there in the chat, I want you to smash that thumbs up and that like, and I want you to like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
But mash that like button like you hate it. Here we go. Is the world too far gone that nothing but a complete collapse will bring forth real change? Why? And what would that change be? John?
So I'm going to lean on my faith here, but I don't think the world's ever too far gone. God has saved this world many a times over. The most biggest event was him sending his son to die for our sins. However, I think when we talk about complete collapse, I said this earlier, we're addicted to comfort. We're so addicted to comfort. We're like a heroin addict, and we can't seem to get clean. And that is cancerous for us.
You've been reading Mike's book.
if we don't get that shaken off and actually roll our sleeves up and put our big boy pants on and do the stuff that needs to be done. And I'm not even talking violence. I'm talking about just activity, actually getting out and being engaged. And we don't worry about like what our next TV show on Netflix is going to be or where we're going to order our DoorDash from. We're addicted to comfort. It's disgusting and it's killing us. And if we don't do something, if we don't get out and actually engage, then it's going to pass us by. We're going to be those fat people from the movie WALL-E, riding around in our little airborne scooters, 400 pounds, and just fully entertained and fed all of the time. And I mean, that's almost prophetic at this point. So we have to get away from the comfort. We have to get our mindsets changed. And I think the biggest change that I would say needs to happen right off the bat is a return to our guiding principles of the Bible. That's my answer.
So I'm kind of in the same camp as you with that. I don't think the world is too far gone because, frankly, I don't really give a crap what happens in the world. I give a crap what happens in my immediate hemisphere. So I don't think we're too far gone for a real change. But, and the only reason I say that is because this country has had very many unifying moments throughout history. Unfortunately, most of them involved war, but we've also had some good things that have unified us as well. And if you look at one of the things that's unifying the country right now in a very large way is we managed to get Donald Trump reelected as president. That was a unifying moment. This is one of the things that the globalists can't have. They can't have us having another 9/11. When that happened, that was a total country unifying moment. I don't care if you were Muslim. I don't care what religion you belong to. That was a unifying moment. The change that I can see happening, if we can find that thing to unify around other than a man, but rather the principles of what made this country great in the first place, like you said, then I can see this country being unified once again. But yeah, we're going to have some insane asylums opened up, and some people are going to have to get some treatment.
Yeah, exactly. Completely agree. So real quick in the chat, punch in what you think, what your answer is to this. First question: is the world too far gone, and nothing but complete collapse will bring forth real change? And yes or no to that, and then what change would it be? And even if your answer is no, give us the change, because we do need some change in this world. So go ahead and type those in. Look forward to seeing what you guys have as your answers. And real quick, before we actually shut down, quick reminder to join the crusade and sign up for that free Substack account that I told you guys about at the beginning. It does give you access to the Saturday Watch Guides, which goes out to everybody, so you can see and stay up to date with everything, thumbnails, links, and descriptions all included. You can go back and watch that stuff, which is streamed on all of our platforms every day but Saturday. And that way you'll never miss an episode because you didn't get a notification. No notification. Obviously, that's the number one way that big tech suppresses us. So if you decide to become a member, you get the Survival Dispatch emergency notification system, and you get access to the private Signal chat, which is always blowing up, and S2 is always in there wreaking havoc in a good way. And our entire library of 37 e-mags for free. That's every survival situation that you can imagine. And they're beautifully crafted and designed. Early access to instructional videos from our content creators on Survival Dispatch. The Sunday Threat Matrix, which Chris puts out, and it's incredibly done, very fully comprehensive. And full daily sit reps with sources that go out every day right before lunch. So please don't forget.
Stay Brewed gets the answer award of the night.
Yeah. Let's see. Where is? Let me see if I can pull it up here. Yes. Craig over at Stay Brewed, by the way, if you guys are looking for good coffee, Stay Brewed is the place to go, and amazing blends. I actually need to get some more of that. I've gone through everything that he sent me, so I'm going to have to order some more. Anyways, thank you, Craig, for that. Yeah, please don't forget our sponsors. If you guys are in need of self-defense insurance coverage, CCW Safe, Carnivalt, American High Quality Meats, and if you are in a police unit, agency, or you know someone who is, turn them on to Compliant Technologies. Amazing gloves for being able to subdue an assailant. So tomorrow,
more like incapacitate.
Yeah. Oh. I still have PTSD from those things. All I'd have to do is see somebody pull those gloves out, and I'm like, all right, what do you want me to do? I'm good. So, or I'm going to take off running and try and get away. But tomorrow, Chris, Mike, Glover, Jeff, Randy, and Khalid will be back tomorrow evening for their weekly terrorism sit rep. Insanely good information there, so I encourage everybody to join in with that. So we'd like to thank all of you guys, all of you who support SDN, especially our subscribers and sponsors. You're the reason we put in the work to bring you the truth every day. Until next time, I am John Wheaton, S2. Stay prepared, stay informed, and God bless America.
Hoorah.
America is worth fighting for, and it's time to unite, make it healthy and great again. Dividing us is how they play. Now we're aware and won't retreat. So now the future of our country is before us, here at hand. And those leaders that we trusted, they're no longer past the test. Change, time to regain. Let's all unite and make our stand. Godly serve your age. Saving America is our plan. Freedom, liberty. 'Cause now is the time. Yeah. Watched our borders open wide as we ignore our homeless families and veterans out on the street. Blessing those who commit these crimes, paying for wars, it's just their game. These Gold Star families that you spit on, that you devastate their world, are immune to your projections. Americans now understand the truth. American thinking. You voted Joe Biden, claiming democracy. Americans arranged. It's a shame that it's up to our accident and our liberty. 'Cause now is the time. Constant donations to other countries. Politicians keep taking as American TV screwed to rearrange. Corporate sell out rock and rollers. Away with engage. Americans, I'm getting older. Time has changed me, but they can risk time. Fight for the land of the free.